Is Australia still the land of the fair go? G'day, it's Jump Bunny here, hope you're all well. It's another incredibly beautiful morning in southeast Queensland, in the bush setting here. Far away from the troubles of the Middle East, so you think. And who would have known that the Strait of Hormuz, which carries 20%, so there's still 80% of the oil goes south, could massively screw up Australia like this. Now, overnight, or on the news this morning, one of our two oil refineries, the Viva Energy, which used to be the Shell refinery in Corio Bay in Geelong, where I used to live, is on fire. And the Energy Minister, Bowen, which Danger Dan calls snake mouth, said, oh, well, that's going to affect prices. Like, no shit, Sherlock. Really. It cannot be a coincidence that in the middle of a fuel crisis, one of our two oil refineries that we have produces 120,000 barrels of oil is on fire. That cannot be a bloody coincidence, right? I would suggest and maybe think that that would be probably a deliberate act. Just the same as firebugs start lighting fires when there's a heat wave on, because they've got a screw loose in their head, right? Government's response. So the Prime Minister is flying over to Brunei, which is not in the Middle East. It's near Indonesia. It's the Kingdom of Brunei, which I looked into. It's got a really interesting history. But is Australia the land of the fair go? House prices, inflation, cost of living, and, immigration. High and high and higher and higher and higher immigration. And all of this argument about, oh, well, we need skilled labour. Well, apparently it's not that skilled. That people are just coming here because they want to escape the bullshit that's happening overseas. I don't blame them. But is it fair for people who are already here? And there's one statistic that sticks with me about how, like the Treasurer talks about intergenerational wealth and these kind of things. One statistic that sticks with me, the house I bought 3 and a bit years ago, it's not even 3.5 years, when we moved to Queensland, has gone up in 3 years, it's gone up 80%, which is criminal. 4 or 5%, fair enough. Over 3 years, it's gone up 80%. And you might say, oh, well, you bought well and, you've done well. My kids cannot afford to buy a house in this country. It used to be, I had friends who were Italian immigrants at primary school. They, unlike my father, knew how to save money. Unlike my father and mother, who did not know how to save a bloody cent and lived in housing commission, these Italian immigrants, they not only had their own house where they lived in Sydney, they also had a holiday home that they also owned in Gosford. And there's an area in Sydney called Kingsford, and that was well known as a kind of particularly Greek immigrant area. All those houses are worth like $3-4 million each now, right? Because it's close to the city. That was the fair go. If you worked hard and applied common sense, which unfortunately my parents did not, so I've inherited nothing from my parents at all. except a chip on my shoulder sometimes. So I'll try and get rid of that one. I've been mostly successful in that. The fair go, right? I've been a product of the fair go. I got a free education, mostly free. These days, you know, your university debt is, or education debt, like there is free TAFE. Your university debt is significant, a significant cost. However, I got a fair go and I made the most of it, and here I am. You know, I don't have sufficient funds to give to my kids, to give them like 300 grand each or something, so they can get a foot on the property ladder. 50 grand won't get you anywhere. So, on that basis, Australia is not the land of the fair go anymore. Like, there is so much land here. Why is it so bloody expensive? We have millions of square kilometres, but unfortunately most of it's desert, and that's why we all hug the coast. The idea that the government can say, oh, you know, we'll reduce the fuel excise by half, it's made barely a difference. Diesel's $3.30 a litre. All the farming equipment and the truckies, they need the diesel. I've got all this time on my hands at the moment. I could go visit mates interstate. I'm not going to do it because I can't afford the diesel. And is the diesel available? Do you get somewhere and you're stranded? So for such a large country with so many things to see, Australia is very small, right? You stick around your local area, and I'm very lucky that my local area is very beautiful. But it's not the land of the fair go anymore, unless, you know, and this might sound wrong, and it's not meant to come across as wrong. If you're disabled, you just get everything given to you. Housing, wheelchairs, medications, everything. I've got a friend. She's 60. She got throat cancer, and then she got the throat cancer was cured, but then it moved down to her lungs. So she's got stage 4 incurable lung cancer. She went through all the treatments, and nothing's going to work. So that's it. She's on a package, so she gets the disability pension, plus she gets $40,000 a year package. And it sounds weird because she's got stage 4 cancer, but she's fighting fit. But she's got stage 4 cancer. She's heaps better than she has been the last 3 years because she's not on chemo or incredibly strong medication anymore. She's actually feeling really well, which is a paradox actually. And she gets $38,000 a year. She was catching private transport. She lives in the bush. Private transport to Melbourne each way, $1,000. She didn't pay for that. Who's paying for it? The taxpayer, right? Is that fair? She actually has money, and she hangs on to that and gives it to her son. So she gets the $40,000 a year package and travels down, but she actually has the money and she hangs on to that. So is that really fair? I don't know, but it's within the rules. So is that a fair go? Personally myself, I don't think so. As it pertains to my situation, another year and a half, I'm going to have to make a really hard decision. And it might be, you know, I was feeling yesterday that, you know, I had a meeting at work, and the guy said to me, he said, well, all the people love your work and everything, and like, that's not fair. I was doing really well, and then all of a sudden, well, you don't have a job anymore, fuck off, when I've done so well. So how is that even logical? It's a top-down, we need to cut 30% of the workforce decision. And it's not like the company I work for was actually doing badly. Their share price is at an all-time high. It's just, you know, what was that, Gordon Gekko? Greed is good. It's like that. So if this is me done and dusted, work-wise, in a year and a half I will move to Thailand because I won't have a choice. So, and that all comes back to the fact that Australia is not the land of the fair go anymore because everything's too bloody expensive, right? Your kids can't afford a house, you can't afford to fill your truck up with diesel. The electricity bills are going through the roof because the government's on this kind of net zero fantasy, and then they're all in denial. The Bondi massacre should have been a really bloody huge wake-up call. People were murdered on Bondi Beach for nothing, for some overseas, what do they call it? Intifada, whatever that is, right? We hate Jews, so we're going to kill them on Bondi Beach and make a worldwide global statement about the iconic Bondi Beach. Funnily enough, the Japanese in the 90s thought Bondi Beach was named after Alan Bond, and they call it Bondi Beach because his nickname was Bondi, until he got found out to be a fraud and a crim. And his wife lost $1 million diamond on the Manly Ferry. It fell into the drink. Yeah, right. So, fair go. It's not Australia anymore. It's not the land of the fair go. The bush is still here, the kangaroos and the koala bears and the kookaburras, the emus, the desert's still there. But society in general is something other than it should have been, and should be for our kids and the next generations. What do you reckon? Do you reckon Australia's still the fair go? You doing well, or you know, it's a bit shit? Let me know in the comments. See you on the next one.